This is Gavin Bautista, your host at the Prosperity Channel. We had a big lull because, unfortunately, my wonderful, great, and loving father passed away. He died last June 13 at the Capital Medical Center, the famous Capital Medical Center in Quezon City, the city of professionals, the city of fine food and great entertainment. Yeah, after 95 years of life, my father, Andres Anding Bautista, died of a massive heart attack. And that was it. So I had to grieve for the next few weeks and honor him with this particular show. And I know that he wanted a quick burial. He had the fast cremation, so I was requested not even to fly back to the Philippines. So who is my father, which I have known quite well, and I was lucky to have such a father who was able to guide me, discipline me, fund my various activities from my education, etc., etc. He was 95 years old. He was born November 23. And shockingly, he died at an age where I think the medical hotel, which is one of my inventions, could have made him last longer. But anyway, what is surprising about his death was so many of his close friends have already passed away. So there were just a few who remembered him, especially his close friends and family members, because they all died already. He was the last of the Mohicans, so to speak. And my father served 3 presidents, Diosdado Macapagal, one of the, in my opinion, top 4 greatest presidents of the Philippines, followed by President Cory Aquino, the president that liberated the Philippines from martial law. And of course, the president that wanted the Philippines to become the next industrialized nation of the world, none other than Fidel Valdez Ramos. During the time of President Macapagal, my father was bribed to the hilt when he was then with GSIS. He was the executive secretary under Don Ramon Diaz, the great Bicolano, who he served twice, one during the time of Macapagal and then the other one during the time of President Cory Aquino. And he was very known in the circles as a man that did not accept any form of bribe. And I remember very clearly when I was a young kid at P. Florentino Corner, Banaue in Quezon City. That was our first house. We had a compound there. He was bribed 6 brand new Mercedes-Benz. When he did not accept, he was bribed again, suitcases of money. When that did not happen, they already approached him. Ano ba? Paano ba namin mapapapirma dito sa mga kontratang ito? And I think he just said, to avoid any violence or altercation, mag-inuman na lang tayo, mag-usap tayo ng tama. And I think he brought, that person brought a case of Johnny Walker Black. And they drank. And during that time, the Filipino peso was 8-1. And the Philippine economy was headed towards a boom economy because of the very good policies, liberal policies of President Diosdado Macapagal. And there was no question about it. President Macapagal wanted the farmer, the Filipino farmer, to become very productive, to become self-sufficient. And therefore, he created so many agricultural laws to make the tenant farmer own his own rice land or corn land or whatever agricultural product he would like to do. And during the time, the IRI, the International Rice Laboratories of the world, were there in Laguna, which was the center for education of all Asians in the world. How to produce better corn, better rice, better trees. It was really the original Green Revolution. And if Macapagal continued as president, the Philippines would not be in this situation. The Philippines, by now, easily would have been one of the best industrialized nations of the world. But sad to say, it did not happen. In fact, it became the worst economy for the last 20 years after Macapagal. And then came Corazon Cory Aquino. Again, during that time, there was nothing left in the Philippine treasury. And so again, my father was asked to be part of one of the, well, he was the executive secretary, again, for Don Ramon Diaz to regain back the $10 billion US dollars that were ill-gotten by President Marcos Sr. And they were able to get immediately $680 million, but they did not have enough legal clout to get back the balance immediately. So my very own brother, Attorney Juan Andres Bautista, was tasked to do that during the time, this time, of President Noynoy Aquino. And then came the time of FVR, Fidel Valdez Ramos. He became part again of the GSIS, and he was retired, forced to retire, if I may say, unceremoniously by General Magno. For the reason, I'd rather discuss that lengthily in a more opportune time, because I am doing this show as a respect to him as a father and probably one of the most integrity-filled government service executive of the Philippine Republic since 1898. Because it is sad that what is happening right now in the Philippines is that if you are not going to accept a bribe, you will not last long. If you are going to accept a small bribe, possibly you will not last long also. But if you're going to accept a huge bribe, Just like what's happening at the DPWH, at an all-time record of 55 billion US dollars in just three years, you're okay. But because of our very strong citizenry right now and the backup team of President Marcos Jr., the Filipinos again cannot take it anymore. 55 billion just with the DPWH. And it is very, very sad that all the pain, the sufferings, the blood of the previous administrations are all nothing. Precisely because it has been done again. DPWH steals what? 55 billion US dollars. The GSIS under, would you believe, another Del Rosario by the name of Arnulfo Wick Veloso Del Rosario, robbed again 8.8 billion. At least we can say Wick is a lesser evil with the 55 billion US dollars. 8.8 billion pesos in just a couple of years. And a senator from the Philippines would say, a current senator, hindi naman nakakain yung putang inang integridad mo eh. Pardon the foul language, but that was exactly what he said. I cannot eat your goddamn integrity. A senator of the Philippine Republic. And so, it's very obvious. As my father would say, the basis of everything that you do is integrity. And people always say, I have integrity, but when the money is there, it becomes different. It becomes the opposite. And so, I would like to honor my father, Andres Anding Bautista, with a series of books about his life, his achievements. And if the president of the Philippines would have just listened to him, the peso would not fall from 8 pesos during the time of Macapagal to about 58, 59, 60, 61 right now. About more or less, give or take, 750%. So every time the Filipino buys a product, whether it be locally or internationally, he loses 750%. I repeat, sa bawat piso na ibibili mo, Pilipino, yung halaga dapat niyan ay dapat mas malaki pa sa 750%. So the future of the Philippines is clear. The future of modernity, long-lasting modernity in the Philippines is very, very clear. Hire people, executives, managers, employees like Anding Bautista, Anding Bautista, with integrity, with honesty, with real Tagalog delicadeza, marangal na Tagalog. And I'm telling you right now, the Philippines has a chance, finally, to become the next industrialized nation of the world because it's so small. It's so small. I was telling the group of Mario Draghi when I was in Canada, the Philippines is so small. I can't fathom why the current central bank governor, Remolona, cannot even understand the value of gold as a reserve. He cannot even understand the export programs of Diosdado Macapagal. He cannot even understand the new monetary policies not even done in America, but Uruguay, Singapore, and the list goes on. And as I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, as my father would always say, the worst form of bankruptcy kapag ikaw ay magnanakaw at walang nalalaman sa ginagawa niya. And if I may translate that in the American vernacular, the worst person that can be worst would be a person with no integrity whatsoever. And a brain that cannot fathom problems and endless problems and even adding more problems because he doesn't understand on how to solve the problem. And that is the problem of the Philippines. The cabinet members of President Bongbong Marcos are really inept, corrupt, pigs, mga baboy, katulad ni Ben de Rosario. The guy that started to wreck the whole GSIS, Government Services Insurance System, together with, of course, former Philippine Airlines President Roman Cruz. And that's why from 1966 to 2026, we are back to a de Rosario by the name of Arnulfo Wick Veloso. Tumira na naman ang mga de Rosario, this time 8.8 billion pesos as of this hour. As of June 27, 2026, Central Time in Oklahoma. And what is very sad is that everybody knows it. Alam na mga Ayala yan. Alam ni Andy Soriano yan, the third. Alam ng buong Chinese commerce yan. At ang sabi ko nga sa Chinese Chamber of Commerce, huwag kang matatakot kay De Rosario. Hindi gamit, sabi nila may backer yan sa United States of America. Baka mapatay kami yan. At sabi ko sa Chinese Chamber of Commerce, pinatay na kayo ng mga De Rosario sa pagdanakaw nila. Nagnakaw noon, nagnakaw na naman ngayon. So, really, is the Philippines hopeless? No, 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 no. All we have to do right now is to have, in fairness to President Bongbong Marcos, hire people like Vince Dizon. What's happening to the DPWH in just 8 months? It's a turnaround. A turnaround is what? From a big loss in business, billions of dollars lost, to a net profit gain. All because of what I just told you. Marangal kausap, a man of integrity, Vince Dizon does have that, and a person who is really knowledgeable about his craft, which is managing roads, bridges, buildings, etc., under Vince Dizon. And I'd like to congratulate again and again Secretary Vince Dizon for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Before I end this particular segment of my tribute, my honor, my respect to the one, the only, Mr. Clean, Attorney, the honorable, real honorable, yung hindi talagang tumatanggap, Attorney Andres, Anding for his close friends, Andy, when he was in the government service with 3 presidents, Bautista, for living a life of honor, for living a life of what a government employee should live for and live with. Because I am going to honor him the whole year and probably until 5 years from now, because we will be having the Andres Bautista Honorable Shirts, okay, where we will clearly tell the Philippine Central Bank governor or future governors that the 750% can be erased. If you know what you're doing, you're an expert, you're an innovator, you're a highly talented genius on monetary policy. And of course, as my father would say, this is grade 1 talk, you know. What is grade 1 talk? Integrity. I am a man of integrity. That's grade 1. You learn that when you're grade 1. I will not steal 55 billion US dollars. But that is how bad it is right now with respect to the Philippine government. So ladies and gentlemen, I honor my father with these shirts. If you want to wear one, let me know. We are selling it for only $25 to $35, and then the Nike shirts and polo shirts go as high up as about $100+. Well, less than, more or less. But again, I'm willing to give you a discount because I own the company, and we're doing this. Whatever money is going to be, we'll be making, would be to put up this center for executive management on why you should have exemplary performance and at the same time always have integrity in every transaction you make. Because if my father continued his service at the GSIS, for example, the GSIS employees or government employees at large would have higher pay than multinational companies like Colgate-Palmolive, Microsoft, and the like. I repeat, if Andres Anding Andy Bautista continued to protect the Philippine Treasury, the GSIS Treasury, the government Filipino employees would have better benefits than Google, Kimberly-Clark, and all of these multinational companies. But what is happening is, as usual, ang sabi nga niya, hindi maasahan yan. You cannot trust the Rosarios. And look what happened again. He's there again. At nagtago na naman! Nagtago na naman! It's so sad. So that's why all the Chinese are asking me, Gavin, it's so hopeless. Nagtago na naman ang mga de Rosario, ang pamilya ni Ben de Rosario. So ladies and gentlemen, you have my number, 405-503-8511. Or you can hit me with an email at superdeals1494@gmail.com, and I will email you back with the shirts, the designs, etc. and to the family of Balsi Aquino Cruz, and to the family of Bam Aquino, to the family of Noynoy Aquino, former President Noynoy Aquino. Thank you very much for all your greetings. And I will be dedicating one segment of this show to honor the one, the only, the most martyred Filipino hero, Ninoy Aquino pa rin. Ninoy Aquino, hindi ka nag-iisa. Ninoy Aquino is truly a global hero with what he did because of his death. Was able to redefine how to remove a person from office. And to Corazon Cory Aquino, you have died, but you have never died in vain. Because all your achievements will be part of this global, extemporaneous, if I may, ability to explain to the world how the impossible dream was possible because of a woman by the name of Corazon C. Aquino. She did the impossible. Unbelievable. And a lot of people right now are saying, oh, that's not true. No, I will prove it. It was truly a miracle. And to President Noynoy Aquino, it is only now that your achievements are unsurpassed. Because it is very clear that you are much better than any president of the Philippines, Asia, Europe, Africa, wherever. Pero ang sabi nga nila, President Noynoy Aquino, if you're listening to me in the heavens, to the Aquino family at large, ang sabi nga nila, as they were saying, if I may translate that to the American vernacular, as they were saying here in America, the only problem of President Noynoy Aquino was if he had a very strong cabinet, a very strong executive secretary that could have translated all what he wanted, Mar Rojas would have won. Mar Rojas would have won. That's why I don't want to add this, but nagkahiya na lang kami ni Senator Mar Rojas in the last alumni homecoming. I wanted to, say hi and all, but, I was so pressured during that time because after 18 death threats, and actual attempted to kill my life, murder me 18 times, I had to make it quick, at the, high school covered courts when I was there. I had to literally call up my group in the United States as to when I will be flying back to Oklahoma. Nevertheless, I shall return because I think I can be very instrumental in the making of the Philippines as the next industrialized nation of the world. Good night. And again, to my father, you have died, but your achievements, your spirit, your love for the GSIS will live on. And yes, as usual, I guarantee you that statement. And I salute you.